All right, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining. Zach Eichenberger here, Director of Product and Services for Control Product Systems Group. You are being recorded. You probably heard that message there. So we do that so we can share this session with others. And of course, as we always do, we'll include that in the post-webinar notes along with some other resources for you. Please mute your mics. I'll kind of monitor that as well. That helps us maintain audio quality. But I encourage you to ask questions throughout the session. Peter, I'll monitor that for you. Utilize that chat feature. It's either at the bottom or the top of your screen, depending on the version you've got. We'll make sure to get all of those questions answered. I'm sure there might be some other folks from Torxun here to help answer those as well. We're scheduled for an hour. I don't know that we'll need the full time, but we've got plenty of time to get through the content and get those questions answered. But first, I just want to say thank you to the whole Torxun team for organizing this training and their overall support launching this line. Perhaps more importantly, just looking closely at the market needs and delivering a purpose-built and safe automated pedestrian gate solution for our industry, the first of its kind, of course, and you'll hear all about it. You really did listen to the market and delivered on this. So we've been asking for this for a long time, and we can finally say yes to our customers to provide that complete solution. So Peter and the Torxun team, thanks for filling this gap. And I know you guys have a storied history of kind of recognizing where these gaps are and manufacturing products to fill those needs. So I encourage everybody to spend some time on their site and look at all the other accessories and products that they sell, including complete bifold swing gates. I'm not sure how far you're getting into that, but just a public service announcement there. So Peter, thanks. I'll pass that mic to you. Thanks for putting on the presentation, and congratulations on the launch. It's been successful so far.
Great. Thank you so much, Zach. It's nice to see you all here. Of course, I'm just seeing names, but that's great. This is meant to be as interactive as you all want to make it. Here, let me get right into it. And we'll have plenty of time at the end for, chat or getting on your mic and sharing your questions, your thoughts. I think where we are right now in the Autoped launch is we've been at it for over 6 months now. And so we have dealers like you and people in the CPSG family who are really very familiar with this product, have already seen it, have been quoting it, and are into more detailed questions on what about this and what about that scenario. Then we've got some of you who've, are aware of it, but are kind of trying to get up the confidence to really push hard and figure out how best to use your resources to move this forward. And then there are probably some of you for whom it's still a question of awareness. It's like, I didn't really know there was that product out there, and what exactly is its purpose. And so on a presentation like this in 1 hour, I'm trying to cover the needs of each of those big groups. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend 10 minutes or so just with what's the point? What are the markets? Why should you be excited? I'm going to spend some time building up your confidence in the product itself and in automation of gates. For those of you who haven't been in, say, automated pedestrian doors, there's a bit of learning curve you need to come down, and I've got some material that'll help you with that. And then I want to take the last 10 minutes and really get into the weeds a little bit more on some of the intake forms we have, some of the information that's on CPSG's website you can use to make it possible for you to just get out there and quote and feel confident and start bringing in the revenue that you all are eager to see. So starting at the top, here we go. Autoped. To Zach's point, we saw a need. I've been a dealer just like many of you, and I kept on running across, 2 or 3 times a year, someone who said, hey, I need to automate this gate, not the doors, the gate. And there wasn't a product that could do that. And so here we are. We've taken what already exists, which is automation of doors, and we've ruggedized it and made it great for outdoor fence line applications. There are lots of reasons why this is important, and you all know it very well, but if you're talking to your client, you might emphasize the security. This is all part of keeping that perimeter of a property secure, but it should also be safe, both for the person walking through the gate, that it doesn't bump into them or knock them or whatever, but also for the property itself. And then probably most importantly is the convenience, whether someone's on crutches or pushing a stroller or carrying a lot of bundles or whatever, rolling a bicycle, why shouldn't it be convenient to get through that pedestrian gate? We're seeing a huge demand in campuses, and this is all sorts, we'll talk about in a second. Definitely the ADA is ubiquitous. You're seeing it in all projects you're working on, whether it's the slope of that ramp going up to the gate, or it's how wide is the door, and what makes it convenient for someone who has disabilities. And then now in the last 2 years, we've got the whole germ factor that's come on with COVID and everything else. People don't want to touch things, understandably. So how can we help them? How can you and your clients make it convenient and safe for those the pedestrians walking around the properties? Let's just look at a few samples. Hey, think of all the campuses that you're working with, whether it's a corporate or in this case, maybe a huge homeowners association. Think of all the gates at that property that could be more convenient than they are right now. It starts to get to be a pretty big number immediately. In terms of campuses, you've got corporate campuses, particularly those of us who are south of the middle of the country where it's reasonably tepid all year round. Many corporations have courtyards, have connected buildings that have gates between them, and not to mention all of the underground parking that has gates next to it. Government, every single school, city, county, state, federal government property has access control at some level, and most of that, or a lot of that, is outdoors. So what's making that comply with ADA, which is a necessary requirement for any government facility? So huge opportunity there. God, it's so sad to see what's going on with our schools right now. You remember the schools you went to back in the day where it was an open campus or whatever, and that's no longer the case. But that means there is an opportunity there for both the fencing, but obviously the convenient gating. Multifamily, huge opportunity here, like that HOA you just saw, or the multi-level in urban built-up areas. Like I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. There are lots of multi-story properties that have gating requirements. Then down on the right, you see, marinas. God, my gosh, both freshwater and saltwater marinas where you need access down to your Bayliner or your Hatteras or your whatever boat it is you have, and you need to want to carry that marlin in from the boat after catching it out on the Gulf Stream. You don't want to have to push and wrestle with a pedestrian gate as you come up the dock. So why not automate it? Pool areas, of course. Down at the lower right, you see amusement parks, huge opportunity there. And then there are some internal applications. Anytime where you have a extreme environment indoors, like think of food services where you're spraying everything down, or biotech applications. Those are places where you'd want a product that is outdoor rated. So lots of examples. Here's just the scenario, the scenario to have in your mind when you're talking with clients: a beautiful pedestrian gate, but not convenient for the person who's trying to use it. Think of opening that, having to back up your wheelchair, bumping into it with your knees. It's really inconvenient, and that's what we should be thinking about when we're talking to our clients about this product. Scenario 2, my God, you all know UL 325 inside and out. Every vehicle gate, automated vehicle gate, needs a pedestrian gate right next to it. And yet, why should that vehicle gate be more convenient for the man pushing the stroller with the child in it than the pedestrian gate? If he's got a transmitter with him, of course he's going to hit that transmitter, open up the vehicle gate with his 2-year-old, go on through with the stroller, and not use the pedestrian gate. Well, that's that defeats the whole point of the UL specification. So why don't we make that pedestrian gate as convenient, and certainly it will be more safe than that vehicle gate. Here's a scenario. Think of all the turnstiles you've seen. We were just talking about the Warriors and the Celtics, big battle coming up. You know, every sports arena has these things. At most manufacturing facilities where employee parking is outside of the facility, lots of applications where there are turnstiles. Well, every turnstile needs a pedestrian gate next to it, because there are a lot of people, the electrician with her utility cart, the man on crutches, you know, they need to go through a pedestrian gate, not that turnstile. Well, why shouldn't that pedestrian gate, which is meant to be convenient and have the automation we're talking about? So anytime you're in your territory, you've got turnstiles, you should be out there suggesting that they consider putting automation on the nearby pedestrian gate. So bottom line, so now we're kind of getting the awareness. Bottom line, over on the right, you see there is going to be, I'm just redoing my screen here. There's going to be ADA specification that comes through city planning departments, through maybe you know, individual organizations are going to be specifying that all outdoor pedestrian gates have ADA compliance, which would include this convenience of automation. That's going to take a few years, and you all are going to help do that locally with whatever techniques you have, working with your architects, working with the cities, the planning departments. But in the meantime, there is a huge opportunity for existing pedestrian gates. So think about what's around you right now and where to start, and let's get on with it. So let's now get into a little bit of the the business case and some of the details. You know, each of you has your own business model. I'm thinking specifically of you dealers now, although CPSG is, you know, has its own business model, of course. Each of you has your business. You're a locksmith and you really focus on locks, and yet you're also doing a lot of access control and you're working on the outside of the building. You're a camera security company, but you're also working with some access control. You're a fence company and you're doing some automation of vehicle gates, and you put in a lot of pedestrian. Whatever your business model is, this is an opportunity we see, and we're hearing more and more back from you dealers and from distributors, that this is a +1 revenue stream. There's nothing out there right now that is doing this, or at least is doing it in compliance with the standards we'll talk about here in a second. So think of it as a way to ramp up your revenue in a way that you haven't been able to do up till now. It's not cannibalizing anything else you're doing today. Isn't that good news? Okay, let's look at now we're into confidence building. So you're out there, you're talking with that client, and they say, where do I need to put the photo eye to make this pedestrian gate safe? And the answer is, you don't need a photo eye, but you need to be confident in how to explain that. Otherwise, you might run into incredulity on the part of your client, or even your technicians, who you've been beating into their heads about UL 325 and photo eyes and all of that. But now we've got something that doesn't require a photo eye. So why not? So let's talk about that. In the world of automated pedestrian doors and gates, there are two main categories. There's some more, but this is really what we need to talk about. We're talking about swing doors right now. There's the low energy and there's the high energy. So let's start with high energy. This is something that you're going to see in supermarkets, in airports, any place where the public is needing free access into that property. It's not something that's compatible with access control, because it's meant to get people in and out quickly and conveniently. So picture your Trader Joe's or your Harris Teeter out there. This is going to have a high energy door, slide door or swing door getting into the property. And those require having photo eyes or a sensor up above that's very sensitive, and that's what's meant to keep it safe. And in return for that, the door moves very quickly. That whole standard is covered under UL 325. So let's start there. UL 325 covers a lot of different types of equipment. Obviously, it covers the vehicle automation, which you're very familiar with, most of you, I'm sure, but it also covers, you know, automated curtains and roll-up doors and sectional doors and garage doors and automated pedestrian gates. So UL is required for a high energy operator and door. But more importantly for you, the dealer, is ANSI standards. ANSI is just like UL, a body that's made up of members of an industry that will establish what are the rules for a particular product. And ANSI has come up with the 156.10, which establishes the standards for safe high energy doors. And one of the things to think about is that it requires that a technician working on that high energy, high speed, photo eye, public type door gate is ADAM certified. This is a very rigorous and thoughtful certification that technicians go through to be qualified to work on these high energy. And most corporate clients and federal governmental clients will insist that they know that whoever is putting it in is ADAM certified. It's a little bit like what you'd expect to see for an elevator, that you'd expect the technicians to be fully certified in it. So let's go over to low energy. This is quite different. So low energy are meant for gates that are used less frequently, less high volume, kind of individual by individual. They are perfectly compatible with access control because it's person by person. It can work with a card reader, with a keypad, with a phone entry, whatever it may be. They're beautiful for ADA because they're so darn safe. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Activation is not automatic. It actually requires the person who's going through that gate to do something, which is called a knowing act. So to push a button, to push on the gate. It's also UL. The standard for ANSI is 156.19, different from 156.10. And in the ANSI world, people talk these numbers. And so this is something that you're going to want to be familiar with and be able to talk about fluently. No, it does not require certification by your technicians who are out there putting it in. It's very, very similar, easy to do, like you'd put in an automatic vehicle gate equipment, maybe even a lot easier. You can be the one to judge that. And the applications are all the ones we talked about up above. Now,
Peter,
I just said yeah, go ahead, Zach.
just to reinforce, we are living in that low energy quadrant with this product.
Yep, perfect. Yeah, so this is what you're talking about, and this is what you need to be confident with. You need to understand the high energy to answer questions when people say, oh, what about, you know, the photo eye, etc. Thanks, Zach. Let's talk about now, what is it about a low energy 156.19 category that makes it safe, that ANSI says you don't need photo eyes. This gate will be safe with the person with crutches in a wheelchair, whatever it is who's going through there. There are 4 key ingredients. Let's go through them one at a time. The first is what I just talked about a second ago. It's that in order to get that gate, we'll just call it a gate right now, although it applies to doors and interior applications. In order to go through that gate, you need to do something as the person doing it. So you're going to push on a button, and you've all been in senior centers and hospitals and federal government facilities where you see these buttons. Push to open. That pushing that button is considered that knowing act. The person who's going through is making that door respond and open up. Now, a knowing act doesn't have to be that button, but it needs to be something. It may be you presenting your credential. So an access control reader presenting that could be tied into the operator, and that can, at the same time it's recognizing your credential and unlocking the door or the gate, it's also commanding it to open. From the inside, leaving the property, a knowing act might be that you push on the panic bar of the gate, and after a degree or two of movement, the operator then takes over and finishes opening it. You've probably experienced that with a automated door before. Any of those are considered knowing acts, but for example, a transmitter is not, because a transmitter could be clicked from 100 feet away and the gate would open unexpectedly and bump into the person who's in front of it. And a phone entry system is not a knowing act, because when someone pushes 9 on their phone and releases the gate, it unlocks it. If it then goes ahead and opens, that's also something that could surprise the person standing in front of the gate. So in a case like that, you push 9 on your phone and the gate unlocks, but then the person standing in front of it needs to do something to get the automation, to get the operator to open up. I hope that's clear. We can come back to it in a minute, but knowing act, that's number one. Number two is the force. These operators are programmable to adjust the amount of force with which that gate is closing. And the way you test that, the standard in ANSI says it must be 15 foot-pounds or less force. So you use, if you look at my picture here, you can see I'm holding one of these little spring-loaded measuring tools, which is calibrated with foot-pounds. You can't quite see it. I'm not very good. Okay, there we go. Foot-pounds. So foot-pounds are listed there. So when that gate is closing, you hold your tool and it will confirm that the gate is exerting 15 foot-pounds or less. And you're adjusting up in the controller a 1 through 9 standard in order to get the gate to be what you want it to be in terms of its force. Obviously, a heavy, big, solid panel gate is going to exert more force, so you're going to dial it down a little bit up on top. This is separate from wind load overcoming. This operator is brilliant in that it knows when it's wind versus bumping into someone, and so it will push against the wind to firmly close the gate. But for the force, 15 foot-pounds or less. That's number two. Number three is the velocity. Again, this is something that you will adjust in the controls and makes this very different than a vehicle gate, that will adjust how many seconds it takes for the gate to open or to close. Within the ANSI 156.19, there's a table that lists size, width of gate, 36 inches, 42 inches, 48, 55, and weight of gate, 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 250, whatever. Depending on where you are on that table, ANSI will tell you how slowly the gate must open. So for a 36-inch, 100-pound gate, it will say 3 seconds. So you then adjust the time in the programming so it takes 3 seconds or more to open and to close. 250-pound, 48-inch gate, so big, heavy, wide gate, it says 5.5 seconds. So that gate you have to program to open slower, and that between the knowing act, so everyone knows that the gate's about to open, it's light touch, limited force, and then it's controlled velocity based on the size and weight, the mass of the gate. You're now assured that anyone walking through that gate won't be, hurt by the gate, and the speed also gives them a chance to react. Any of you who've been on the show and seen the CPSG booth with one of these Autopeds, you can see how gentle it is, even though it's a big gate, how gentle it is as it closes. The final thing, of course, is signage, and you're used to that with your vehicle gates, but you need to have a sign that looks like that. So that's the key. Those 4 items make it safe, and you can be confident that you're completely compliant with what ANSI is expecting. Note that these are all your responsibility, the installer's responsibility. We are responsible for getting it through UL, which we've done. Thank you very much. You're responsible for making sure it complies, but this operator is designed to be adjustable so it will comply for any application that you're looking at. Okay, more confidence building. What are the alternatives your clients are dealing with right now, or that you've been struggling with? There aren't good alternatives. Top and bottom here are operators that are not UL, they're not ANSI compliant, they're meant to be used with vehicle gates. And while you may have seen them on pedestrian gates, they're not able to adjust that force and the speed that ANSI is requiring. In the middle there is an example. In this case, it looks like it's an LCN senior swing, but there are other products like that. These do what our Autoped does, but they're made only for indoor applications. And your warranties go on the minute you install it, which I've done in my old world. You know, in dealers, I put this in, put a bunch of claptrap shielding around it to try to protect it. But I knew the minute I put it up there that it wasn't going to be under warranty. It was on me. And frankly, the LCN's got some other things that make it less attractive than the product we're offering you. Okay, next thing is, what do you need? What does a system look like around that gate? So let's start at the top. You've got a header. The operator mounts on the top of the gate, above the gate, so you need a header. 5-inch tall operators, so a 5-inch header is ideal. If you're building something from scratch or you're putting in a header, it'd be nice to be able to put in, say, a 2x5 steel square tube up on top, and then the operator just mounts right to that with four bolts. If you don't have a header, or if the header is very small, we're offering, well, let's say this: if you have a header that's not large enough, or you're going into sheetrock, or you're trying to find studs or whatever, we offer a stiffener plate that is drilled and tapped to match with the Autoped, which makes it really easy to put in. If you look at our website, you'll see a video of an installation. Brad and I were just talking about this up at Warrior Way, where the Golden State Warriors play. And it has a 2x2 header across the top. So they used our stiffener plate to give it the full 5 inches of attachment. And it looks really elegant and works well. So that's number one. Number one is you need a header that's ready to accept the Autoped. The second is you need power, obviously. It's a 110 power requirement. It's working on a DC motor, but all the transformers in this operator are built into the board itself. And some are going down to 5, some to 12, some to 24 volts DC. So the incoming power needs to be 110 to support this. So if you are using a solar installation, which we can support, if you want to go there, I can explain that more later in the presentation. It needs an inverter. Bottom line, you need 110 coming in. This takes almost no power to run. We've measured a peak load on a heavy 500-pound test gate was 0.6 amps. So it's very light need, but to be safe, you put in a 1.5 circuit to support it. You need a lock. You need both a lock and probably a strike lock or some combination, depending on the gate you have or what you're trying to do. Typically, these will be with a panic bar, and because it's an outdoor application, we're very fond of the Von Duprin 22 or 99. There's Cal Royal equivalents, and then using a electronic strike, and we love the Hess 9600, but there are others that can work as well. You want something that's, of course, outdoor rated. And this is where your push and go would work. You push on that, and it's not the lock that's telling it to go. It's in the programming that it knows based on the encoder that the gate is opened up a degree or two. And that's what then tells it when to pick up and keep going. Access control. This is, as I said before, this is compatible with a card reader, with a phone entry, with a keypad, with a whatever you want. Sometimes that will be the knowing act, but often you'll have some other additional knowing act button. And in California, they require a 36-inch long push plate for ADA compliance, so that someone can kick it with their foot or their knee or their elbow or whatever. So often you're going to see the access control separate from the knowing act push plate. And think about ADA, of course, where you put that push plate needs to be convenient for the person, assuming, let's just assume a case where they're in a wheelchair. It needs to be back far enough from the gate so they can push it without the gate, when it opens, bumping into them. And the operator, according to UL, is listed to 250-pound gate, 55 inches wide. So that's a big, badass, wide gate. The operator is actually capable of more than that, but this is what UL is listing it for. And so that's what we're stating in the literature, and that you'll be seeing. And when you're talking with customers, that's what the UL standard lists it for. Okay, the operator itself, it's a handsome, 36-inch wide, 5-inch tall, about 5-inch deep, stainless steel housing. It's meant to be outdoors. It's got over here the control board, very sophisticated, lots of places to wire in devices, although in a simple application, it's actually very simple. Most of these will be unused. As you get into maybe a master secondary, paired doors, or you have a Sally port where one can't open if the other one's open type of applications, you'll get two of these operators talking to each other. It also is compatible with other safeties if you needed to put in photo eyes or whatever else you can. But as I've said, we're talking low energy, so that's not a requirement. You've got the gearbox. Heavy duty, built to last. You've got a DC motor. You have a spring here, which really is just to make it into a closer in the event there's no power. This will allow the gate to close gently when there's no power. Rarely does it need adjustment, but this also could be used if you have a, exceedingly heavy gate. This would give a little more support to the motor as it opens. We've never adjusted this in all of the installations we've done to date. Over here is just some extra real estate. You could put in a receiver to talk with the transmitter in your knowing act, or other goodies that you need, a transformer or whatever, if you had other ancillary things you wanted on it. And then down below is the actual arm. There are two flavors of arm. The one you're seeing here is used for push applications. And this is the standard arm that comes with the unit. And will be used in 80% probably of your installations. But we do have something that's appropriate for pull. I'll talk about it in a minute. But this is it. Damn, it's clean, it's simple, it's durable, it's been proven, it's ready to go. All of the guts here have been out for years, and millions and millions of cycles, tens of thousands of applications. So you're getting something that's proven. What we've done now is make it into something that's perfect for outdoors. So you're ready to go. One of the nice features is that the operator can work either left hand or right hand, push or pull. You don't have to be confused about which SKUs do I need and which handed gate is this. You need to know that ultimately when you install it, but at the time you buy it, it doesn't matter, which is cool. So your salesperson's not sure whether that's a right hand or left hand gate. Your installer can have this in their truck and go out and know that what they have in their truck is going to work. Although there are a few questions they should be asking. We'll get to those in a minute. And also, this is nice for the distributor, which only has to have shelf space for one SKU. Of course, we have great literature. That's something we're very proud of. We do all the pictures. We try to make it as simple and straightforward and play to those people who like to read, those people who like to see pictures. We have two manuals. The first one is kind of a simple, let's get started, get this thing up and running. The second one is an appendix and gets into all of the tables that come with the programming options when you get into more specific requirements for a gate setup. All of that you'll find on our website. I'll show you where to find that here in a second. Of course, it's UL listed. That's a no-brainer. We need to do that, and we want to respect you and make sure you're confident that this is a safe product. And then the ANSI, absolutely, we built it to be compliant with ANSI, although, as I said earlier, that's your installer's responsibility ultimately to make the adjustments and make sure the knowing act pieces are in place. Hell yeah, it's a good deal. the LCN that you might compare it with, and accept that it can't go outdoors, and accept that it has all sorts of SKUs that make it confusing to order and install. The dealer price there's about $3,200. List is $6,400. I mean, that's a big bite. Ours is about $2,800. You'll be working with your local distributor on the exact pricing, and list is significantly low, $500 or more below the LCN. So it's a good deal. And there's nothing out there that is capable of doing what it's doing. We've seen no issues so far from a price point of view. It's more just a question of, hey, is this what I need to solve the problem I'm trying to solve? How do you order it? I'll get into more details here in a minute, but there are two ways. One is simply to order the operator. The dealer, you'll call up your distributor over there at CPSG and talk them through. It's simply one SKU, so that's easy. And then there are a few options that you need to think about based on the exact installation you're doing. And you go pick it up. CPSG has these sitting on the shelf. They're ready to support you and put it on your truck and get it out to that customer. Alternatively, for those of you who are sick and tired of fabricating all your own pedestrian gates, or source them locally, or have a slammed fabrication team, we offer a complete turnkey pedestrian gate. We call it the AMPed, so American Ped Gate. And we've got two standard designs, a little bit heavier duty and a little bit less heavy duty, although also very commercial grade. And you can order that whole thing, and you buy it through CPSG. It ships directly to you. We'll quote it based on you filling out this simple form, which I'll show you here in a minute. Either one of these is a great way to get the product and get your customer happy quickly. What comes in the box? Okay, now we're getting into the nuts and bolts of this. So you unpack the box, and everything that doesn't have a yellow circle around it is included. So you have this mounting template. This is what makes it super easy to know exactly where to punch and drill your holes in that header. And it's set up for left hand, right hand, ready to go. You have the back plate. You have a plate upon which the gearbox, motor, controllers are mounted. This is extra protection around the control box, a little plastic covering with sealed gaskets. The cover, and then down here, number 9, is that standard arm used for push applications, which I just talked about. It also comes with a 3-position switch, which is convenient. It's a lock open or regular operation or off. The power stays on, but you can't control it to open. So this is convenient when you're installing, when you're testing, or when you're moving in a bunch of equipment. But we also have a number of options, and this is what you as the dealer need to be familiar with as you're talking with your customer and understanding the exact pedestrian gate where you're going to be mounting this. So let's go through those quickly. The first is this S1, which is this stiffener plate. And this is the perfect option when you have a small header, or you're trying to reinforce a header, or you're putting on a stud application. So that's a stiffener plate. These are in stock, sitting on the shelf at CPSG, ready to go for you. And I'd say probably 20% of installations will require this. So be aware of it and know that you need it at the time when you're ordering the operator. Second is a positive stop kit. And so the deal is this operator is working up to 105 degrees of opening swing. You don't want it to be forced beyond that. You're going to potentially damage the arm. The way to stop that, of course, is to have a fence, a perpendicular fence or a wall or a bollard or something that's preventing that gate from over opening, some sort of physical positive stop. But if you don't have that, we offer S2, which is a cost-effective, basically a stop, I'm lost for the word, but you mount it on the back of the operator, and this piece is rotating, and at 105 degrees, you set it just shy of the stop so that the gate can't open beyond its limit. So it's kind of a limit cam. Number 3 is a drop down spindle which attaches into the gearbox and lowers the arm to be appropriately at the appropriate height for the gate you're installing it on. We ship it with this 20 millimeter, but if you have a particularly large gap or you're having to mount the operator a little bit higher above the header for whatever reason, we have this 33 millimeter spindle as an option, something you might want to have on the truck with your tech. Just, you know, as you start to install some of these, just have it as a backup. If your salesperson isn't out there carefully measuring what the gap is at the time that they sell it. Number 4 is the track arm assembly. So this is a glide track, and the arm is gliding in it. You've seen this on doors before, and this is what you would use for a pull application if the gate is actually swinging underneath the operator. This does not come standard. You'll get this push, but if it is a pull, you need to order this separately. And then this you can put on the truck or have it in your hip pocket for other installations or service parts. 5 is an alternative. This comes standard, this 3-position rocker switch, but here's a keyed version of it if security is paramount and you don't want people able to switch the rocker switch. This is a 3-position, it's a barrel key. The key can come out in any of the 3 positions. 6 is that, what I just showed you. This is that pressure gauge. There's nothing fancy about this. You can get it off of, you know, eBay or off the web, but we're offering it as a part because every tech to comply with ANSI 15619 needs to be able to measure. And so for the first few that you purchase, you should be getting one of these so each of your techs has it in their pocket ready to go. This is a key tool. And then number 7 are knowing ACT receiver, transmitter, or hardwired kits, and we'll talk about that in a second. So this is the picture, and the yellow represents the options. You'll see all of these options are listed on the CPSG website, and you're all good. I'm seeing that note, Garvon. The track arm can be used for push, and it can be used for pull. It's good for push if you don't want to have that articulated elbow sticking out. So that's it. It can work either way, but the standard arm is push only. This is the control board itself. There's a little joystick here that is controlling the LCD display. You can see it's a comprehensive control board. You've seen many of these before. Here's the programming guide. There's a quick setup menu that has about 8 steps that makes it very simple to get it up and running. But this shows you all of the, you know, options that you can add or program in, and our manual then walks you through, hey, what are the parameters and choices, and a very good standard English explanation. So there we are. We have a proven, handsome, quiet, ready to go operator, world-class durability. It's outdoor rated, obviously. It's easy to install, adjust, and program. It's priced for excellent value. We've got excellent documentation, and the inventory is out there in the CPSG branch near you. So Zach, that's the deck. But what I wanted to offer was I wanted to just show the various documents that go along with this that you can find on our website or the CPSG website, and go into that intake form. But are there before I go there, are there other questions you want me to address?
No, I think that's that'd be the correct order. We've got a ton of resources for you on this. Yeah, definitely direct with Torxun or on our website.
Right.
And yeah, haven't had any other questions come in privately, but there's definitely some takeaways here, right? Purpose built for pedestrian gates. purpose-built for outdoor use. Your warranty will be intact. I do want to reinforce, positive stops, quality hinges, all a key part of these types of installations.
Yeah,
It's
good point.
low, it's low energy. I don't need to be a pedestrian door installer. I don't need to be ADAM certified. This is the perfect fit for our industry and kind of our core disciplines, if you will. So
yeah.
And how you order it, I'd say, initially, just to throw it out there, that it pretty much comes ready to rock and roll. There's just a few accessories that you may want depending on the application. But yep, Peter, let's get into that a little bit deeper. And
so let me just
shoot questions via chat, or actually at this point, unmute
and just let us have it. So here's our website, Torxun.com, very straightforward. You'll see in it our pedestrian gate products and the Autoped. So it's easy to find this on our site. And then down at the bottom here, you've got, the things you'd expect to see. A brochure, this is your 2-page sales sheet. Here's the installation manual, and then here's that appendix I talked about. We also have offered a distributor resource page, and this is also material that you're going to see on CPSG's website. But we have this sales guide that really will be helpful when you're talking with that client and trying to think through what options do I need. And then we have one for the whole complete turnkey amped gate. So let me just walk you through those briefly. Here is the 2-pager, that goes through technical data. This is what you could include in a submittal. The next is the Autoped selling guide. So this is going to help you just decide. I showed you that exploded parts diagram. It's going to help you decide which of any of these additional options should I be quoting, and then should I be picking up from CPSG when I go and pick up the order. So the first question is it a push or a pull application? And so if the gate is swinging underneath the operator when it opens and closes, you're going to need the track arm. And so here we offer the part number for that track arm. The second is, hey, is the header adequate, or do I need a stiffener plate? And then here's the stiffener plate part number. The third is, how big a gap is there between the bottom of my operator and where I'm picking up on the gate itself? If it's under 2¼ inches, which will usually be the case, you're good to go, because it's coming with this 20mm spindle. But if it's significantly more than that, you might want to order the 30mm additional spindle, or even go a 50mm. Although at this point, I think you need to be asking, there's a lot of torque that's being exerted on that spindle. And if there's a way to shore that up, put something on top of the gate, lower the operator, that's a better solution than just bigger and bigger spindles.
Hey, Peter.
Here's positive stop. We talked about that. Here's the part number for that positive stop kit, which is in stock at CPSG, ready to go. Here's that key 3-position switch we talked about. If that's something that's required for security, you order that. Here's the pressure gauge. And then finally comes the activation device. You've all seen these, and you can buy these directly from BEA or from MS Sedco or whatever. What Torxun has done is put together a set of 8 kits. And we've picked what we think are the best products out there for outdoor applications, durable, reliable, proven, and we've packaged them. So everything comes ready to go, the receiver, the transmitter, the push plate. And sometimes we're mixing a receiver from one company with a push plate from another, because we know that's the best combination based on our research. And so you can order these through CPSG. You'll see them listed on the website. There's some photos and other things we'll do to make it a little more user-friendly. But we've got them in 4.5-inch, the 36-inch, the little jam plate, wired, wireless, touch. It gets complicated pretty quickly, and that's why we're trying to simplify it. So this is a final conversation the dealer wants to have with your branch, just to confirm that they've got it figured out, or if not, they can buy one of these kits ready to go. So that's that's a 2-pager trying to make it dead easy. Yeah, Zach.
Yeah, Peter, if you could just scroll down just a skosh to that spindle there. So let's say you do have a fairly large gap between the gate and that header. Could you just buy the stiffener plate and again, move that operator down to close that gap?
It could be, yeah. You could bring that stiffener plate and drop it down into the gap. Or you could, what we're seeing is, if you're, absolutely, that's one option. There's several ways you can play with it to try to lower it. Build up, put a plate on the top of that gate to lift it up a little bit. They're different scenarios. I think, we're totally confident that the 20 or 30, if that's going to work for you, just go for it. If you start to get much bigger than that, then pause. Let's see if there isn't another solution that could work for you.
Hey, Zach, real quick to your point, I've been quoting the stiffener plate with every Autoped, just to take that, unknown out of the mix and make it easy for them. I think that is a quick and solid option for that issue.
Yep, I think that's good.
Okay, good, thanks. Here's a similar intake form, but this is if you want to order the complete amp, the complete pedestrian gate. And this may not be for everyone, but I'll just quickly go through it. We have 2 basic designs. One is industrial, which has a 2x3 hinge frame, heavy duty kick plate, 3/4 inch pickets. And then we have a somewhat less, but also very heavy duty, 2x2 frame. The gate's similar, 2x2, 5/8 pickets. So you have 2 different industrial, multi-use. That's question 1. Which one do you want? Then it's how do you want to mount it? Do you want it to be wet set? So it comes with an H frame underneath and you just drop it in the ground and pour concrete, or is it surface mount? So that's your second question. Oh, I want industrial and I want it wet set. Okay, beautiful. Third question, are you wanting it automated with the Autoped, or are you planning on just a closer only? So 3 questions and boom, you're already at the part number. So that's the part number on CPSG's website. And now you know what part you're ordering. Then we've got little explanations to try to make it clear, but a few more questions. How wide is it? Is the finish standard okay, or do you want something special? What kind of locks do you want, or none? How does the gate swing? And then again, we get back to this knowing act. Do you need us to ship with it any of these various knowing act kits? With that, CPSG will send it into Torxun, and in an hour, we can give you a quote. But if you really want it to be more customized, with different infill or different colors or this, that, or the other thing, draw us a little sketch, give us some notes, and we'll give you a custom quote. That'll take a little bit longer, but either way, this is a great option, and we're seeing a lot of uptake and interest in this, particularly because people's dealers are slammed. It's hard to build it all themselves. This also takes you then from a $2,400, $2,800 purchase to you're up in 10 grand or so. You're adding the lock hardware, so you see how quickly this can turn into real serious income, both for your dealer, you dealers out there, and for the branches.
Yeah, I got to say, Peter, we've shown this product at several trade shows this year, local branch events, and I was blown away at how many people asked for the complete system. That's what they wanted. Yep. Send it to me, yep. Hinged, ready to go, all the hardware, with the operator ready to rock and roll. Yep. And yeah, with the speed of business today and the lack of quality labor, is a great option.
Yeah. So we try to make, so you'll find this on our website. You'll also find it on CPSG's. This is meant to make it easy for you as a dealer and for the branch to quickly go through and know what you're getting quoted or what you're ordering. Here's the manual. This is the standard manual, blah, blah, blah. You've seen these before, but it walks you through step by step how to set up that template, where to punch your holes, how to drill it in, the whole 9 yards. And then here's the appendix. And this then gets into more of the tables. That just showed you how to put in this is how the positive stop unit gets installed. So very straightforward step one, step by step instructions, good illustrations. And then down here we get into the charts that show you, what are you going to see on the screen? TPUGO is the push and go, and it shows you, then it explains over here exactly what each of those functions is. Trying to get from the standard English to what you're going to see on that screen and what the parameters are you can set it for. So there you go. I'm going to stop sharing now, and in our last couple minutes, see if there are any other questions.
Oh, I do.
Go ahead, Red.
You knew this was coming. Okay. What's your answer, Peter, to a dealer that's installing one of these in an extreme cold climate and asking for a heater option?
Yeah, excellent. I've actually got a test site up in Kodiak, Alaska. Is that cold enough for you? So yeah. We don't have a part yet that's available on CPSG's website, but we are absolutely planning to offer a heater pack that will work directly off the board and take care of those applications. What we're trying to finalize is, first of all, what we're being told is, hey, it needs to go down to 40 C, negative 40 C. That's pretty damn cold. So we want to be able to test it at that. And we want to see what is the failure, if there is one, at that temperature without a heater. So we've got a little bit more research that's going on right there, but absolutely we'll be offering some sort of heater package. And I would expect within 6 months you'll have that ready to go. So get your orders coming in, and the heater will be there when you're ready for it. One more scenario is, okay, I'm down on the beach and I'm trying to put in this operator on that PED gate that goes down to the private beach at this condo community. Do you have a solar option? And so we do. Yes, the answer is yes. In fact, I've got pictures of it set up at our facility right now. We've worked with Connexa, which I know you guys work with a lot on solar applications, and we've come up with 5 bundles, depending on where you are in the latitude. So we got one for South Florida. We've got one for kind of the Southwest. We've got one for middle of the United States, up Alaska, blah, blah, blah. So you can order that, and you'll order that straight from CPSG. We don't touch it, but we are engineering it with Connexa to make sure that it's good to go with the Autoped, and the documentation is excellent. Okay, what else?
Battery backup.
So good question. Yes, the All-O-Matic, I think it's a 1200-12 is a perfect battery backup for this, because it needs the inverter.
Yeah.
And so that's what we would recommend. And I've spoken with All-O-Matic, and they're confident it's a great solution. I think if a customer is really pushing you for the battery backup, you want to just test that a little bit. I mean, it's always good to sell more hardware, I guess, but it does make the system more complex. And this will operate just fine without power. It's not going to open, but it will work like a hydraulic closer would. The gate is easy to, the gate will push open as easy as a gate pushes open without an automation, and it will close gently. So I'm actually skeptical there's going to be much request for battery backup. But if there is, go with the All-O-Matic, and I'll work with Zach to make sure that's clear in our literature when you're going in and doing the speccing out for your client.
Yeah, I could see it as a need, Peter, if it's a resident or an employee that doesn't have, brass keys to the exterior trim to access from the exterior of the property. If all they've got is a access control device or a transmitter or something to that effect, battery backup would be nice, because they wouldn't have access into the property at that point if they lost power.
Yeah, okay. I think kind of dive into those details, right, Brad? Like what kind of locking mechanism is there? What kind of access controls are there? Obviously, we need to make sure that all of those stay live as well. But yeah, good point.
Hey,
Yeah,
Peter,
no,
I
think it would. Yeah, go ahead, Brad. Go ahead, Brad.
You brought up a point when you were discussing the physical stop and the gate opening up into a fence line, and that raised the question for me about the 16-inch gap requirement in an entrapment area. In that scenario, you're saying we still would not require a foot fire?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. The whole point is it opens gently, it opens slowly. And ANSI 156.19 says that's not considered an entrapment zone in the pedestrian automated door gate world.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, great.
Thanks you, Brad. Good questions.
Yep. So, hey, we're at the end of our hour. Great job, Peter. Very thorough. Appreciate you presenting that.